Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Discover America's Most Unique Towns. I've done reactions before to I guess America's most isolated towns, I think. Or just towns in weird locations. But I mean, yeah, we're going to see what this one has to offer because I assume there's going to be just towns that you wouldn't expect. Again, maybe it's location of where they're located. Maybe let's just say near a volcano or they're high up in the, I don't know, they're in the mountains and stuff. Just different things like this, and I always find it quite cool because, I mean, in the UK, I feel like towns here are typically always quite similar. Like they'll have differences within the towns, but you're not gonna find like in the US you'll have towns that are deserted, for example. I don't know if that'll be in this list because I don't know if deserted towns would make a list where it's the most unique towns, but yeah, in the UK, just towns like you have nice towns, you have towns that are like, I guess, quite just they're struggling financially and all those kinds of things, so they'll look different and those kinds of situations like that. But just the US, I feel like the diversity of towns, you have towns where it's just people living in, I don't know, camper vans maybe, or I don't know, just things like that. I don't know, just very diverse with the stuff that you can have and that kind of stuff. But we're going to check this out anyway. I'm talking a lot, rambling for rambling's sake, so we're going to just see what this video has to offer, and yeah, let's check this out.
Towns here in the United States. The cities on this
Is that a clown town?
list aren't your cookie cutter cities or towns. These places are special, weird,
Upside
or
down?
quirky. Something
What?
makes these places stand out, like their history, their architecture, their theme, or even their location. Myself, I like a town that's got a little weirdness to it. Maybe that explains my fascination with Possum Trot, Kentucky. Who knows? But that's what we're looking at today. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look.
Here we go. Seaside, Florida.
Number 10, Seaside, Florida. Seaside, Florida is kind of special. Not the name. Every state that touches saltwater has a town called Seaside. I know California has one, Oregon has one, but this one's special. Pristine white buildings all lined up like they're in some sort of architectural military camp. Visitors are pedaling around in pastel-colored
peaceful.
bikes like some sort of weird Gap
yes.
commercial from the 1990s.
This is a beautiful beach. I mean, this is just Florida, isn't it? Let's be honest.
And cute little beachside boutiques. This whole town looks like the set of The Truman Show. Remember the Jim Carrey movie? I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding. Looks just like it. And surprise, surprise, this was the filming location of the movie, The Truman Show.
Wow.
When you go to this town, you kind of go, this is
Well, that's why it looks like it then. It looks like Greece from here.
what America should look like if all of America had beachfront property. It is literally the American dream, or at least looks like it. If you're there, don't miss out on the all-white chapel church. Yeah, it looks like the top of a wedding cake. Not even kidding. They have a cool post office and rows upon rows of pastel-colored beach houses that look like they've been plucked straight out of a candy shop. This is in the panhandle of
Beautiful.
Florida, and if you've ever seen, I should say most of their beaches there, it is white sand beaches, and it's usually pretty pleasant. If you're looking for it on a map, it is between Destin and Panama City. It's so cute, it's ridiculous, honestly. For the most part, it still looks like the Truman Show. They don't have any homeless people, they hardly have any measurable crime. This is the type of place where white slacks after November 1st might be the biggest crime you've seen all year. If you want to live here, the average home value is $900.
Founded in 1981. Oh, it's really new. And it's tiny. Oh, and it's expensive.
$86,000, almost $1 million, and I think it'd be worth every penny.
Looks nice though. Beautiful. Jerome, Arizona.
Number 9, Jerome, Arizona. Jerome holds a special place in my heart because a lady one time corrected me when I called it Jerome, Arizona. We were talking about how it is considered the most vertical town in the United States, which it is. She told me it's actually called Geronimo, Arizona. I said, no, I think it's Jerome, and she looks at her husband and goes, we were...
Damn, this looks like a town in Chile. There's that one in Chile that's really high up, but I feel like that's quite a poor town. Like, people get a lot of issues because of the work. I think the town's there because of the work. This is, I guess, just the location that happened to be. Maybe it was for mining before, but I'm assuming... Someone just shout. I'm assuming it's probably somewhat prospering, right? I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's just, it must be quite hard to live in a town that's just upwards or downwards all the time.
I said, no, I think it's Jerome. And she looks at her husband and goes, we were just there. It's called Geronimo. He leans over and goes, it's Jerome. That woman turned 9 shades of red in about 10
Jesus
seconds.
Christ.
If you're planning a trip to Jerome, don't forget to wear comfortable shoes because this place is called the most vertical town in the United States for a reason. It is. How vertical is it? Let's just say it was built on the side of a cliff, and their sidewalks aren't as much sidewalks as they are stairs. Back in the day, this was an old copper mining town, and it was dubbed the wickedest town in the West. Nowadays, Jerome's just a tourist hotspot with a quirky twist. Have you ever wanted to eat a hamburger and an old bordello? You could do that here. Want to go visit a haunted hotel? You can. The Connor Hotel. Jerome is a gold mine of vintage shops, wine, and beer tasting rooms. If you want to get out of town and go do something exciting, feel a little adventurous, head over to Jerome State Historic Park. There you could tour the Douglas Mansion, which is a massive adobe house built in 1916 by a giant businessman that was in the copper game. If you want to buy a home in Jerome, it's hot, so I mean very hot. Keep that in mind. But the average home value here is $509,000.
That's a fascinating place. Gibsonton.
Number 8, Gibsonton, Florida. Ever wonder where circus performers go to retire, where they stay in the off season? Well, that is Gibbonston, Florida.
Oh, is this actually the place that was in the intro? I think it might be.
Or Gibtown, as the locals call it. This town earned a reputation as the retirement community for carnival folk and circus folk, for that matter. That was back in the old days. I've watched a couple videos and there's hardly anything left of it. You can still find little, murals and different things, but it's not like it was in its heyday. Now, if you go here, there still are some old carnival folk and people associated with that business, but you're not going to go to the grocery store and meet a fire breather or lobster boy or the bearded lady. Matter of fact, where you're going to find most of them is going to be the local cemetery. Between 55 and 61 artists are buried here after a tragic Hammond Circus train wreck in 19...
What? Oh, this is mad. What the hell is this story?
55 and 61 artists are buried here after a tragic Hammond Circus train wreck in 1918. Now, there's other ones that weren't associated with the train wreck, but I think that's kind of strange. I just watched a video that was done about 5 months ago by Southern Life where they went to the town and they found different things that were associated with the old history of the town, but it really wasn't what they were expecting. The circus has left town pretty much. Apparently all the circus folks now live in Sarasota. The good news is this is a town that's coming back up. I mean, it's mostly trailer parks where all the circus and
That's what I meant when I said caravans, trailer parks. It's because, yeah, I just couldn't remember what they were called.
Carnival folk used to live. I mean, they've been living in trailers their whole life. Why stop in retirement, right? But they're building new homes, and if you want to buy a home here, the average home value is $350,000.
So I guess this isn't a very desirable place to live. But hey, it's still... it's got his niche, which is pretty cool. Beaufort.
Number 7, Beaufort, North Carolina.
Beaufort.
All right, folks, let's talk about Beaufort. And it is Beaufort, not Buford. This coastal gem has more charm and personality than a sailor's first tattoo. Picture this, you've got comfortable little shops overflowing with fancy treasures, restaurants that take the dock to dish seriously by serving the freshest local seafood, and historic homes that are as gorgeous as the sun sets over the water. You stroll along the docks and find a bunch of yachts parked there like they're in some kind of showroom. Live music always seems to be playing. And of course, like any seaside town, Main Street is a treasure trove of quirky t-shirt shops and ice cream parlors that make their own waffle cones, that type of thing. But that's not the cool part, and that's not what makes Beaufort weird. There's more to Beaufort than meets the eye. Beneath its picture-perfect surface lies a swashbuckling history that's over 300 years old. Yep, Blackbeard himself, the legendary pirate, left his mark here when his ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, took an unplanned pit stop at the bottom of the sea just off coast. And guess what? The place is crawling with diveable shipwrecks, earning it the nickname a wreck diver's dream. Yeah, this whole area was pretty big with the pirates back about 300 years ago. Blackbeard obviously
I know the Bermuda Triangle is not here, but Bermuda's, is it like off the coast of like North Carolina? I mean, that ocean, that area of the ocean, man, there's strange stuff happening. I'm gonna be honest, but I think Bermuda's off the coast. I mean, I know it's far off the coast, but it's off the coast of North Carolina. I think that's my geography coming in clutch. Could be waffling, but
the most famous.
Who knows?
They have pirate boat tours.
What the hell?
There's rumors.
This is AI created. This doesn't even look real.
Blackbeard buried a bunch of gold here. 300 years later and sound penetrating radar, nobody's been able to find it, but they're still looking. If you're looking for a house here, it's not that expensive, and this is a nice little town. The average home in Beaufort goes for about $402,000. Not bad.
Standard price. Pigeon Forge. Pigeon Forge, what a name.
Number 6, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. A place so packed with fun, it should come with a warning label, where their town motto should be, we still don't know how many go-kart tracks are too many go-kart tracks. Honestly, they've got like 10 go-kart tracks on one street. Different companies, different...
Is it just theme park after theme park? I mean, there's a Ferris wheel here. There's just stuff going on everywhere. There's, I guess, tall things here. Maybe they're rides. I don't know. This is a racetrack.
Places. This isn't just one company that has a bunch of different tracks. It's like one guy was successful with a go-kart track on a piece of property, so another guy decided to copy him. And then like 10 other people did. Pigeon Forge is most famously known for Dollywood, which is Dolly Parton amusement park. But honestly, this town didn't just stop with Dollywood. They decided to turn the whole town into an amusement park. Mostly, I'm not kidding, it is go-karts, but they have like different rides and miniature golf, a Ferris wheel, and an outdoor gravity park. Yes, it's a thing. If you don't know what that is...
Outdoor gravity park.
That is this hill where they put you in a big ball and push you down the hill, basically. And you roll down for like a minute or two, get to the bottom, throw up, have a good time. This is one of the strangest towns I've ever seen, and I haven't been there in 20-something years. It's just still getting weirder. More go-kart tracks.
Pretty
if
cool.
you want to buy a home in Pigeon Forge, the average home value is $469,000. They got a lot of trailer parks there, though. You can get in cheap.
Leavenworth, Washington.
Number 5, Leavenworth, Washington. Welcome to Leavenworth, Washington State's very own slice of Bavaria. Here you can chow down on some hearty bratwurst and wash it down with a cold German beer. But that's not all.
Is this what it looks like? What?
Own slice of Bavaria. Here you can chow down on...
This is AI imaging again. He's using a lot of AI imaging and it's confusing me. But I mean, if this is what it looks like, it's still pretty insane. This looks like it's straight out of Munich.
Some hearty bratwurst and wash it down with a cold German beer. But that's not all they do here. Do you like nutcrackers? And I'm not talking about the type you had in 3rd grade on the playground. I'm talking about those little, things that crack nuts, like walnuts. If that's your thing, Leavenworth has the Nutcracker Museum. Most of them from Germany, and most of them very old. So old, they probably saw the invention of the pretzel or maybe mustard gas. I mean, they're from Germany, so it could be either. Leavenworth is a really cool town. Been there a few times. They have a great...
See... This is looking like AI again, for God's sake.
Oktoberfest, as you can imagine, I mean, it's a Bavarian-style town. All the buildings, it looks like you're in part of Germany or maybe Austria. It's just a really cool little town. But their Oktoberfest is pretty good. A lot of people go to it from the Pacific Northwest. A few years ago, during the pandemic, they'd shut it down for the pandemic, and then some of the locals didn't want it to come back. So it's like you got this whole town based around the whole German Bavarian theme, and you're going to shut down the most German Bavarian thing that they do. Oktoberfest. Who shuts that down? So they tried to get rid of it, but I think they almost had a frickin' rebellion. All those hotels, all those businesses that count on all those visitors. Now, what makes this one weird is it's in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and it looks like a German town. There's a few of these around the country. I just picked this one. I've always thought it was strange. I've been there a few times. But Leavenworth is a beautiful town. It's nice. It's small. It's up there in the mountains. They have a nice little Christmas setup, during the holidays. It's really, really a neat place to be. It's just kind of weird. If you want to move here, the average home value is about $685,000.
Pretty pricey. Salem.
Number 4, Salem, Massachusetts. Salem has one of the wildest chapters in American history, the Salem Witch Trials. Colonial Massachusetts, February 1692 to May 1693, a time when your nosy neighbors could point a finger and suddenly you're accused of being a witch. Over 200 unlucky souls had Gladys Kravitz as a neighbor and got drug into this mess. 30 people were found guilty and 19, yes 19, got the ultimate neck stretch. Courtesy the hangman's rope. 14 women and 5 men for those keeping score. But wait, there's more. One guy, Giles Corey, decided he wasn't playing along. He wasn't into their game. He wasn't dancing for the man. He refused to enter a plea. Authorities, in their infinite wisdom, thought, hey, let's torture him. See if we get a confession then. Spoiler alert, he didn't make it. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, at least 5 more people kicked the bucket while cooling their heels in jail. So yeah, it was a real-life horror show. Makes you kind of grateful that one of our biggest gripes about our neighbors, you think he's stealing your Wi-Fi signal. If you want to buy a house in this spooky little town, the average home value is $589,000.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Here we go. I think I've heard
Number
of this
3,
place.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia. For those of you that said that Salem witch trial stuff was kind of weak, what else you got for us, Briggs? I give you Point Pleasant, West Virginia. This is for lovers of paranormal activity. This little West Virginia town on the Ohio River has some...
Is there many lovers of paranormal activity? I mean, all I remember as a kid is that film used to give me nightmares, and then when I grew up, I just realised it was very bad. But I don't know. I've not actually watched much of it. I just know when I was a kid, it used to shit me up.
Quirky personality. There was a Mothman panic in Point Pleasant in 1966, based on sightings of a red-eyed, winged creature. Today, the town...
He's not actually talking about the film, is he? He's just talking about paranormal activity. For some reason, I thought he was talking about the film.
Town is home to the Mothman Museum, as well as the annual Mothman Festival. There was a movie some years back with Richard Gere about the Mothman. Anyway, the museum showcases memorabilia from the sightings and the 1964 Silver Bridge disaster. This bridge disaster and collapse and all the people who died in it supposedly had something to do with the Mothman's appearance. When they have the annual Mothman Festival, people from around the world come here, and they're really into this. Like, you know, those guys that are into Bigfoot, people think they're going to come here and actually get a sighting of the Mothman. The good news about this strange little town, the average home value here is only $144,000.
Oh, it's cheap. I mean, I was thinking it looked a bit depressing from the first image, but here it looks quite nice. It's very, I like how it's just very unique. It's literally connected by the bridges. Like, there's part of it here, part of it here. That's cheap. Flipping hell. Whittier, Alaska.
Number 2, Whittier, Alaska. Have you ever heard of the Alaskan town where everyone lives under one roof?
Building.
That's right. Almost all of Whittier, Alaska's 200 residents call the same building home. Instead of log cabins, tiny homes, and normal homes, they live in a 14-story tower called the Begich Tower. Some people call it Wilderness Tower. The thing is, this building was built for the Army back during the Cold War, and when the Army left, the railroads took over the land, and someone turned the Begich Tower into condos. If they want to live in Whittier, they're going to live in this tower, because since the railroad owns all the property, if you build a house, you know, it's not your property, it's their property. Other than coming by sea, there's only one way in and out of this town, and it's a tunnel. The tunnel closes at night. It opens at 5 a.m. and closes at 5:15 p.m. There's no road through the mountains. There's no road around the mountains. You either come by sea or you go through the tunnel. Everything is in this tower. The school, the church, the post office, the cozy corner grocery store, even a notary. Everything is just get in the elevator, go up or down. You're going to find what you need. It was voted a few years ago as the strangest town in Alaska. If you want to live here, you can. They've actually...
I think this is the strangest town in the world. Like, no town, like, it's Alaska, it's so isolated. No town can come close to this. It's literally one building.
Got 2 condos for sale right now. A 2-bedroom goes for $205,000, and a 1-bedroom goes for $175,000. Now that's what's for sale right now. They have some bigger condos that go for more, and they say that the average home value here is $319,000. So that tells me they probably have some that come up for sale occasionally that are in the $300-350 range.
Pricey.
All states, we have a link for a web anywhere.
Tangier Island.
And
Tangier
number
Island.
1, Tangier Island, Virginia. Tangier Island, a place so low and flat, you might miss it if you blink your eyes while cruising the Chesapeake Bay. Yes, Tangier is in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. This tiny speck of land is home to a bunch of hardy watermen and women whose ancestors have been hanging out here since the colonial times. A lot of them are direct descendants from people that lived there before the American Revolution. The cool thing is, this island is packed with jaw-dropping tales. We're talking about Native Americans popping by to hunt and fish, and even some enslaved African Americans making a daring escape to find freedom on this very island. Tangier's got stories that will blow your mind. Right now, it's sinking. A lot of it has to do with erosion. It's basically a sand island, and time is catching up with it. At certain parts of the day, when the tide comes in, Main Street is about 3 inches deep in water. Most of the house...
So it's basically the Venice of the US. Probably doesn't look the same, but it's the same idea. Island flooding. All this history going. But that is actually, like, being serious, that is obviously sad, but I guess there's no real stopping it.
Houses are now up on stilts. And if you moved there and wanted to purchase a home, maybe pass it on down to your kids or your grandkids, I don't think your grandkids are going to see it. This island is on borrowed time.
Flip it out.
They say they could build a seawall and save the island, but there's really only 500 people living on it. Last estimate was a seawall would cost right around $30 million. But it is a very interesting town and island. If you wanted to live here, the average home value is about $220,000.
Well, there we go. I actually really enjoyed this. Sometimes his videos are a bit hit or miss, but this was a good one. I like seeing these types of places. I love off-the-wall places with a unique, a weird vibe. Yeah, man, this is an interesting one. If you live in any of these, let me know. If you've been to any of these, let me know. And if there's other ones out there that I've not seen in this video or I've not seen before, let me know about those, because I find this stuff really cool to see. But that's pretty much it. Until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.